Beloved Saints, today's 5-minute message of redemptive history is about Gideon Part 3 from the third book of Redemptive History series, The Unquenchable Lamp of the Covenant. Last time in Part 1, we examined how Gideon was called as a great warrior. In Part 2, we learned how Gideon selected 300 warriors. Today in Part 3, let us study Gideon and the 300 warriors' key to victory and share God's grace together. On the night that God chose the 300 men, he commanded Gideon, saying, "Arise, go down against the camp, for I have given it into your hands." The 300 men were divided into companies of 100, and they circled the enemy's camp to besiege it. Each stood in his place around the camp and continued to blow trumpets. Holding their torches and standing steadfast, they cried out loudly. The sound of 300 trumpets and pitchers shattering resonated throughout the valley near the hill of Morah. Also, the fiery torches flared and lit up the camp like daylight. Normally, 1 or 2 people would blow the war trumpet from one direction. However, 300 men blew their trumpets together from all sides, and the Midianite army thought that they were completely surrounded by an enormous army, and fell into a state of great fear and confusion. They were in such a state of chaos that they killed one another with their swords and thus destroyed themselves. This is in Judges 7 verse 22. So Gideon and his 300 warriors were victorious against 135,000 soldiers of the Midianite army. Then what was Gideon and the 300 warriors' key to victory? First, they relied completely upon God. It is impossible for 300 men to defeat 135,000 men, but even more so when they're not even armed with the most advanced weapons. Gideon's men were armed with only trumpets and torches, but they were victorious because they relied completely upon God. Then what does it mean to rely completely upon God? Well, specifically, relying on God means following the person whom God has established as leader. God worked through Gideon in the war against Midian, so the key to victory was obeying Gideon's commands. When Moab, Ammon, and inhabitants of Mount Seir gathered against King Jehoshaphat of the southern kingdom of Judah to attack him, Jehoshaphat proclaimed, "Put your trust in his prophets and succeed." In 2 Chronicles chapter 20 verse 20 it says, "Put your trust in the Lord your God and you will be established. Put your trust in his prophets and succeed." Second, the 300 warriors obeyed in unity. The 300 men were divided into 3 companies, and each person held torches in their left hands and trumpets in their right hands. At that point, Gideon emphasized twice, "Look at me and do likewise." In Judges 7 verse 17 it says, "Watch me," he told them, "follow my lead. When I get to the edge of the camp, do exactly as I do." Everyone, the reason for this is that they would have failed if even one man out of the 300 had disobeyed and done as he had wanted. The 3 companies blew their trumpets at the same time and then broke their pitchers. They held torches in their left hands and trumpets in their right hands and shouted so that the Midianite army killed one another with their swords. Then they fled, giving Gideon a miraculous victory. The 300 men followed Gideon and acted as one. This was the key to their victory. Beloved saints, they relied completely upon God and obeyed him in unity. The pitchers that Gideon and the 300 warriors broke, and the torches that were hidden inside them, represents the awesome glory of God manifested through feeble man who are as fragile as pitchers. When our egos are broken down just as the pitchers were broken, and the work is allowed to progress according to God's ways, the mighty power of Jesus Christ will be revealed and we will gain victory. So today, let us rely on this word and boldly march forward. I bless in the name of the Lord.